Matthew Booth is a favourite among South African football fans. The former Ajax Cape Town, Mamelodi Sundowns and Bidvest Wits player was dubbed the White Knight and played in about 400 professional games, scoring 24 goals and earning more than 30 caps for Bafana Bafana. Booth has since retired from professional football. The defender was offered a contract renewal by Bidvest Wits early in 2014, but opted to call time on his career.
Well, hello and welcome to Sport 100 with me, Richard Sirolanta. As always, great to have you with us. In this show, we have a very special guest. We are joined by former Bidvest Wits and Bafana Bafana footballer Matthew Booth. Matthew, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule. Now, before we get into the football questions, I want to ask a question on behalf of the fans out there, and that question would be, who is Matthew Booth? If we were to ask you to describe yourself in one sentence, how would that flow?
Well, it's very difficult for me to say. I think it's best to ask other people, perhaps close friends and family. Okay. But I've strived to be as down-to-earth as possible. I come from a very much a working-class background in a suburb of Cape Town, and a fairly liberal outlook on life.
Okay, Matthew, as far as your football career goes, what's on your radar? What's next? Where's Matthew Booth in terms of his career?
Well, look, I just recently retired. I'm 37 years old, so I'm kind of a granddad in my industry. Okay. And you know, I've been a fair critic of our development system. So we have a trust, myself and my wife, Sonia, and part of the trusts is giving coaching clinics to government schools. So that's our sort of give back, so to speak.
He featured for Bafana in the 2010 FIFA World Cup as well as in the 2000 Olympics. The former player is a firm critic of the national side and believes South African football is still at a grassroots level. He says not enough is being done to help groom young footballers. Together with his wife Sonia, the Booths have started funding football in schools to develop young talent. He's also critical of the South African Football Association and believes having former footballers in Bafana's governing body is crucial to achieving success. Despite saying he is not keen on the Bafana job at the moment, Booth does want to coach one day and lauded Shakes Mashaba for being bold enough to take on the coaching job. Booth says he may consider a coaching role in one of the Bafana feeder teams and believes homegrown talent is the key to the success of the national team.
Now, speaking of coaching, do you ever plan to one day perhaps coach the national team?
At this stage, I don't think I'd want that job for all the tea in China, to be honest. And I think Shakes Mashaba is a very brave man, but he's done exceptionally well. But at senior level, our industry is a little bit too fickle for me. You know, you have to deal with football bosses who don't necessarily know. They don't necessarily have a vision or know what they want out of the game. And so if that does change, then certainly I would like to.
Okay, Matthew, I'm going to put you in the hot seat for a little bit. Speaking about coaching and our South African football, what do you think? I mean, we've had 16 coaches since 1992, including Carlos Alberto Pereira. What is the #1 reason, from your perspective, do you think that Bafana Bafana is not considered an elite football team in Africa, where this country has all the infrastructure?
I think part of the problem is that our football is run by politicians instead of football-minded people. For example, if I could ask you a question, how many ex-footballers are involved in our organization? Very few. And that's a big problem because politicians ultimately want immediate success. They want to appease the population and be popular themselves. And that's not possible in football. You have to develop. You have to roll up your sleeves and develop at LFA level, at local football association level, and give a clear ladder of success to young footballers. And we don't have that at this stage.
Right. Now, Matthew, you mentioned that you wouldn't want to have that position for all the team in China. Now, if Matthew Booth doesn't change it, who will?
Well, we've all got to chip in, and that's why, although I'm criticizing, I'm trying my best to give back as well. Not only good advice, but acting and doing. And, you know, to their credit, SAFA have made the right noises. you know, the PSL is, like you've touched on the point that the PSL at this point I think is in the top 10 financially, the leagues in the world, which is fantastic. But it's at development level where we've got a lot of work to do still.
What is it going to take for youngsters to have that opportunity to develop and, of course, be superstars, not just in South Africa, but internationally? What needs to be done?
Like I said, we don't have a clear path to success at the moment. It's not there. We're in a building process to create that path. So the key word for me is perseverance. As kids, they're going to have a number of hurdles and challenges, and if they can get past those and use those hurdles as a character building process, they stand an excellent chance of getting there, because we have fantastic ability in this country, but we're not giving our kids that chance to shine, unfortunately.
Okay, so you would never coach the senior team, at least not in the near future. Would you consider coaching under 18s or possibly the under 21s?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where my heart is at the moment. And it's also, you know, we harp on about player development, but coaching development and refereeing is even worse, you know. So that's an aspect which I would love to get involved in, and perhaps do a few coaching badges, if not for anything, just to have it in my pocket for sure.
The former Bidvest Wits player also says that there's no need to go abroad to look for talent, and stresses that developing the skills of the youth locally will bring Bafana to glory. African fans should not expect success just yet and should give Mashaba a chance to hopefully get the team to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar.
Now, you alluded to the fact that there is talent in South Africa, but do we really have talent? And if you were a coach, would you consider perhaps getting players from Brazil or other parts of Africa and naturalizing them into South Africa to play for Bafana Bafana? How's that as an option?
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary, to be honest. We've got a population of 50 million plus, and just in my experiences traveling around South Africa, I've seen fantastic talent. But a lot of that talent falls by the wayside. You know, there's lots of elements in today's society due to our socio-economic problems that pull kids down. You know, and if we can get rid of those, make those minimal, and make sure that we have our developmental processes in place to capture those kids, we would have a fantastic team. And we've done it before. Okay. 96, the squad that I was involved in 2000 that went to the Olympics. And we can well do it again.
So if that's the case, would you then say that the players that are currently playing for Bafana Bafana are not the best that this country has to offer?
At this stage, they are the best. I think Shakes has picked a formidable team which can push on in the future. Okay. I just simply think that we haven't gotten our training and developmental processes in place to make use of what's there. And having said that, we still are able to produce these rough diamonds, you know, and which is fantastic to see. But we should never rest on our laurels and just rely on those kids coming through.
All right, now, before I let you off the hot seat, finally, when do you think Bafana Bafana will become a team to be reckoned with worldwide? Meanwhile, we're in 2014.
Yeah, I think SAFA's Vision 2022 is quite realistic. So I would consider that particular World Cup in Qatar. It would be fantastic if we could qualify in Russia, but I think that's just too close, to be honest. Although Shakes has had a fantastic start, I think that will happen only if SAFA gives Shakes time, remain consistent in their choosing of the squad, and let the football people do their job.
Matthew Booth, thank you. You are officially off the hot seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.